Good relations between the employer and employees are essential for the success of an industry. In order to maintain good industrial relations, it is necessary that industrial disputes are settled quickly and amicably. One of the efficient means of resolving industrial disputes and deciding the employment conditions is collective bargaining. What do you mean by collective bargaining? Collective bargaining is a process in which the representatives of the employer and of the employees meet and attempt to negotiate a contract governing the employer employee union relationship. According to Josius, collective bargaining refers to a process by which employers on the one hand and representatives of the employees on the other hand attempt to arrive at agreements covering the conditions under which employees will contribute and be compensated for their services. The main objectives of collective bargaining are as follows: to maintain cordial relations between the employer and the employees, to protect the interests of the workers through collective action and by preventing unilateral action on the part of the employer. All employees are treated on equal footings, to ensure that participation of trade unions in industry is there, to avoid the need for government interventions as collective bargaining is a voluntary process, and to promote industrial democracy. Pragmatic and democratic method of regulating the terms and conditions of employment. The parties directly concerned with employment, that is, employers and workers who best know the problems, participate in the process of collective bargaining. It is a voluntary process without any third party intervention. Collective bargaining results in better understanding between employers and employees. The employers gains a better insight into the problems and aspirations of the workers. Similarly, workers become better aware of the economic and technical problems of the industry. Collective bargaining provides a flexible means of adjusting wages and conditions of the employment to changes in economic, social, technological, and political environment. Both the parties can meet whenever necessary and can adapt the terms and conditions of their agreement to the changing environment. Collective bargaining helps in establishing a code that defines the rights and obligations of each party. Basic standards are fixed and management cannot take arbitrary actions to exploit the workers. Some sort of industrial jurisprudence is created. Collective bargaining also facilitates better implementation of decisions due to the direct involvement of both the parties. Parties know that the decisions are their own and nobody has imposed them. Now we move towards the bargaining strategies. The actual bargaining process to a great degree depend upon the relationship between management and the strength of the employer and the union, and also on the degree of cooperation that characterizes their relationship. Walton and McCarthy have identified the following 4 types of bargaining strategies that may be employed to arrive at an agreement. Now let us discuss what each of this actually means. The first is distributive bargaining. Distributive bargaining perhaps is the most common form of bargaining that takes place when labor and management are in disagreement over the issues in the proposed contract, such as wages, bonus, benefits, work rules, and so on. It involves haggling over the distribution of surplus. In it, the gains of one party are achieved at the expense of the other. So, we can say that a wage increase won by labor may be considered a loss suffered by the management as reduction in profits. Therefore, this form of bargaining is sometimes also referred to as win-lose bargaining. The second is integrative bargaining. The purpose of integrative bargaining is to create a cooperative negotiating relationship that benefits both the parties. In such bargaining, both labor and management win or gain, or at least neither party loses. The issues of bargaining involved in such strategy may be such as better job evaluation process, better training programs, better working conditions, etc. This is considered the best bargaining strategy. Although the integrative bargaining is not nearly as common as the distributive process, signs seem to indicate a steadily growing trend towards the cooperative form of bargaining. The next is attitudinal structuring. Such a bargaining involves shaping and reshaping of attitudes to positive and cooperative. Examples of attitudinal structuring and shaping may be from hostile to friendly, from non cooperative to cooperative, from untrust to trust, and so on. The need of attitudinal structuring or shaping is understood by the fact that any blockage or any backlog of bitterness between the parties leads to bargaining impasses by erupting and destroying negotiations. Therefore, attitudinal structuring is required to maintain smooth and harmonious industrial relations. The attitudinal structuring helps to achieve good faith bargaining. The last is intra-organizational bargaining. In practice, there are different groups in an organization by department-wise and level-wise. At times, different groups may perceive the outcomes of collective bargaining process differently. For example, the unskilled workers may feel that they are neglected, or women workers may feel that their interests are not taken into consideration. Not only that, there may be differences even within the management. While personnel manager may support increase in wages, the finance manager may oppose the same on the grounds that it will disturb the company's financial positions. Given such situation, intra-organizational consensus is required for the smooth acceptance of the agreements arrived at collective bargaining. Thank you.